Hey guys, welcome back. This is Frank, and welcome to our IGCSE Co-Sci Chemistry revision videos. Our current unit is C5 Detective Chemistry. So, in today's video, I'd like to talk a little bit about flame tests. So, flame tests are tests that we do in order to identify metal cations. So, if you have a solid or a solution of a metal, salt, or whatever, you would be able to identify what metal it is by pretty much just burning it. So this is because different elements gives a different colored flame because the electron configurations are different and the energy they give off and the wavelength is different. So that converts into different lights in terms of a spectrum of waves. So anyway, today we're just gonna first look at the steps of conducting a flame test and some of the possible results we might get. And yeah, so I doubt if they would directly ask you how you would conduct a flame test, or like writing out steps of conducting a flame test. But I think they might put a flame test in the paper say question, so you still be able to you're still expected to identify the results of a flame test and how to conduct it anyway, so it's better to know. So well, details may vary in different flame tests, but I think mostly they're the same. So basically what you do is, first of all, you have a clean wire loop. You would possibly uh dip the clean wire loop into ethanol, and this is said to be cleaning the wire loop and removing any residuals and any impure substances. But yeah, I mean, uh we just some people don't do that. If you go search for a flame test YouTube videos, some people just directly uh dip the thing into the samples. So yeah, it kind of depends. But anyway, we just write it here, dip it into ethanol first and then into sample. All right, so we're just gonna dip it into ethanol and dip it into a sample of compound, and then the next step we will put loop into the edge of the blue flame of Bunsen burner. So you would light a Bunsen burner and you would put the loop on the edge of it so that it kind of it will burn. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you observe. So that's one way you could do it. An alternative way is you use a spray and spray onto the Bunsen burner directly, which would also work. And yeah, so there's not a very fixed concise like precise steps for flame tests, but yeah, this is basically what you would do most of the time. So anyway, moving on, let's take a look at some of the common results you might get from a flame test. So just to clarify though, I got these images from NCSSM, the channel on YouTube, and I do recommend you to, if you search for flame test on YouTube, I think you will get their video first, and I do recommend you to take a look at that because it's actually really helpful. And although it covers some stuff that we don't actually cover in IGCSE yet, I think it would be pretty interesting to watch, and it's quite pretty. So yeah. Anyway, uh, we see here four different colors of flames that we need to identify, and let's start with the first one. The first one is what we would call a red slash crimson colored flame. So this color is what we call red and crimson, and red or crimson. And the metal that emits this kind of flame is lithium. So I'll just write it over here. So Li plus ions. So yeah, if you have a solid sample of let's say lithium chloride or whatever, you would put this metal loop into it, and then you would put it on fire, and it would give you a red flame. Moving on, we have a yellow flame. So yellow. And this corresponds to sodium. So as you can see, these are all currently group 1 elements, and yeah, you might be remember seeing this in the periodic table unit as well. Here's mainly just a little recap, but yeah. Anyway, moving on, we have lilac. So lilac or violet, although it's called lilac in the official kind of way, but then it's just kind of purplish violet color, and this corresponds to what we call potassium or K plus, um, right, like that, K plus. So potassium, and finally we have this turquoise. Oh, sorry, turquoise flame, which actually corresponds to copper. So, I mean, you would probably be guessing that because copper sulfate is a very classic example of a very beautiful turquoise or blue, a light blue kind of solution. So yeah, you would probably expect to see that. So that's pretty easy to remember. And red, yellow, lilac is just moving from if you think about the EM spectrum and the rainbow basically, the spectrum of visible light, it is going from longer wavelength to shorter wavelength, so more energy, and that also corresponds, if you think about it, because remember we talked about how group one elements, the reactivity of group one elements increases as they're as you go down the periodic table, so from up to down in the same group. So yeah, you would probably expect that to happen because there's more energy, and more energy means there is more. The wavelength is shorter, the frequency is the frequency is higher, and yeah. So anyway, today's video is a really short one, I know, because there's not a lot to cover about flame tests. So mainly just remember the steps of doing a flame test and the possible results you get, which is red corresponds to lithium, yellow for sodium, lilac for potassium, and turquoise for copper. And that's it. I hope to see you guys in the next video where hopefully we can talk about some testing for metal ions or non-metal ions and really cool tests. See ya.